Good morning. This has been we're in a fascinating time, right? Because you're getting to see where people's values are, right? Like you're getting an idea of what people consider to be their red line, what people consider to be excusable behavior, inexcusable behavior. And it really gives you an idea of where they are in how they are useful to change. Morning, Morgs! How they are useful in shifting or changing the environment that we're in, right? Morning, Kenny. So when I see in 1 week, I see folks more concerned than they've ever been about Palestine with how people are responding to a known white supremacist. So I've seen that same thing, right? Then I see folks who are seeing two brothers hung in Mississippi on the same day. And their response to that is, man, I can't believe this is happening in 2025. Okay? And then when Beyonce and Jay-Z are at a charity dinner with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, and they're sitting at the same table for prison reform, and people say, what do you expect? They're sitting at the same table. It's a charity dinner. And what they don't do is ask the question, what charity? So the charity is reform. It's for prison reform. Why would Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, who are without question invested in private prisons, at a charity for prison reform? Because this really isn't about prison reform. This is about figuring out how to make prisons more capital. This is about figuring out how to make prison labor more useful to capitalists. That's what this is actually about. And why are you involved with an organization that is also involved with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner? Well, who are Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner? First of all, Ivanka Trump is Donald Trump's daughter. Jared Kushner is his son-in-law. Jared Kushner is a Zionist. They're all Zionists, which means they are racist. So they're not just like your average fair racist. They're like invested racists, okay? Because Israel is an apartheid state. So let's understand that. All of the prison industrial crisis aspects that you're seeing here in the United States, whether it's the policing expanding, whether it's cop cities in all your cities, all of that is coming pipeline from Israel. So explain to me how somebody who is invested in all of that is at a charity for prison reform. By the way, prison reform is an oxymoron. I'm going to let that sit. Prison reform is an oxymoron. The same way that police reform is an oxymoron. It's like you built a house. When you watch some shows on HGTV and they're always like, the foundation is messed up. We can't. We're going to have to tear it all down because the foundation is messed up. And we can't keep renovating this house on a messed up foundation because it means that this is not a stable structure. That is what our government is, the prison system, the policing system. All of it is built on shaky, unstable, duplicitous foundation. Okay? Many of the NGOs that you support or that you follow are also built on shaky foundation because they are essentially nonprofit corporations that require a problem to exist in order for them to subsist, or the reverse. They require a problem to subsist in order... I'm not answering dumb questions. They require a problem to subsist in order for them to exist. So it doesn't even value them to solve the problem. It doesn't even value them to solve the problem. So since this nigga want to come up here, you know what? Why don't you just come on, DJ Tab, since you got so much to fucking say? You know, because that's really what it is that folks always got all of this smoke in the comments, but they not going to come up here and actually have a conversation. They not. This DJ Tab, right, because you don't have a nice solution either. Shut up. You want to tell me to shut up? Say it to my face, because I just invited you on this screen. Tell me to shut up to my face, because I just invited you. So tell me to shut up to my face, DJ Tab. You've been given the opportunity to do so, because since you're such a big man in the comments, to my face to shut up. I'll wait.
Amandaseales, I love your work, but I didn't tell you to shut up. I've been wanting to have a conversation with you so bad. First of all, I respect you. I saw your surrounding. I watched it. You killed it.
So
My
who are
thing
you
was
telling to shut up?
not you, a commenter in the comments. My thing is this, Amanda. If Jay-Z, if Beyonce is sitting at a table and Jay-Z is sitting at a table with Ivanka Trump, and Beyonce is saying in her music, just vibe. We vote now 45. Don't get out of line. And she smiled at Ivanka Trump, who is Donald Trump's daughter. That's gangster to me. If she's saying fuck your daddy and then sit at a table and smile at this person, what does that say that Ivanka Trump is sitting at a table with Beyonce that publicly is saying she does not agree with the politics of your father, but she's still sitting at a table with Ivanka Trump, and that's her daddy. So I'm just confused. How is
Do
Jay-Z
you want
supposed
an
to
answer,
further?
or do you want to just
I'm
keep...
just saying, I just want to just have my stream of consciousness because I respect everything that you do. But I do want to talk more about solutions. Like, what is Jay-Z supposed to do? America is racist, but we still live in it. The NFL, we know that that's racist. But how we Kendrick Lamar wasn't supposed to do the Super Bowl because we know that these owners of the NFL is racist. Like, what do we do? Like, what is the solution? I know that you're a radical. I know that you're not a Democrat, but I want to speak to more towards solutions. I'm from Chicago, the West Side to be exact. So I'm listening. I want to hear what you got to say to my points.
You haven't made any valid points.
I didn't
You
make any
all
valid
the
points.
points that you have made have
Okay.
been that you feel that it is gangster for Beyonce to sit
Yeah,
across from Ivanka
I
Trump
do.
in a space where they're
Yeah.
sharing money. You think that you feel that that's gangster. So that's your
What
opinion.
what what they're sharing
That's not a
money.
point. That
So is Jay-Z not raising money towards bail reform and he hasn't been doing his work for the last 10 years?
That's not what this organization is about. And at the
So
end of the day,
what's the
Ivanka
Reform
Trump
Alliance?
and
Inform me.
this
Inform me what the Reform
organization
Alliance is.
this organization is
Hmm.
about training people within the prison industrial complex to come out and do low cost labor for the same private industries that pay them barely anything within the prison system. It is not actively looking to change the prison system into a rehabilitation space. It is not actively looking to create spaces for people to be able to not be disenfranchised when they get out of prison. And at the end of the day, if you are sharing space with people who are actively capitalizing off of private prisons, then you're not actively working to undermine them. That's just a fact. You cannot simply be sharing money with those people. Jared Kushner is a 100% Zionist who supports the
I could
use
believe that.
of Israeli, excuse me?
I could believe that. I
Who
could
is a
believe that.
100% Zionist, who supports the use of Israel and their surveillance and their policing systems to oppress and suppress Americans here in the United States. There's no question about that. It's not like an opinion. That is simply just the facts. So there's no way to share space with people like that and be gangsta simply because you
But
mentioned you don't like their daddy in a song.
but I'm not just
At
talking
some
about
point,
I'm not
there
just talking
has to
about
be
the message in the music though,
I just said
Amanda.
that. I literally just said
I'm
that.
not
I
just
said she's
if we
sharing
talking
space with them after saying a reference to Ivanka Trump's father in a song. So it's not gangsta to actually, it's more so hypocritical, right? And so there's a perspective difference here. Your perspective is if I talk about you one way and I sit with you this way, I am gangsta.
so I'm gonna ask you this. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this,
My
Amanda.
perspective, no, I'm still speaking. My
Okay, go ahead.
perspective is if I talk about you one way, but then I sit here and I smile with you and break bread with you, which is far more intimate than speaking about you on a song that I capitalize off of, that to me is hypocritical. I'm not going to talk about you one way and then in person treat you different.
What I'm gonna ask you is though, Amanda. So when we talk about Barack Obama, right? I know that you probably don't necessarily like a Barack Obama. However, I'm speaking about just the prison industrial complex in itself. When I went to college, I took a whole entire course on American history and just how the law even just got even founded. Slave patrol, all of that. I'm privy to that. I know that the bail reform system, it is a shit show. It is. I agree with you on that. But my thing is this: if it's somebody that's using a power that becomes a billionaire and saying, I want to change this system, you saying it's an oxymoron. So what do we do?
How is
My
he
thing is
changing the
what
system?
okay, so if okay,
Beyond bail reform,
so
how is he
if
changing the prison system?
so if Joe Biden creates a law and say this law and
No, we
say,
talking
well,
about Jay-Z. You
I'm
just
I'm
said
just I'm
Jay-Z.
just talking about bail reform, like the whole sentencing. Like Meek Mill kept getting in trouble for doing something that was 20 years ago, and they got him on probation. Any little minute thing will lock him back up. That just creates this whole process that he's going to continue to keep going back to jail. If they're talking about one specific thing, bail reform, if they're talking about cash bail, that you can't that when you go to jail, you cannot use cash or whatever it is.
Sir, I'm trying to understand. You came on here about something very specific, and now we're talking about
Yeah,
the
I
prison
am.
industrial crisis. You said you
We
wanted
so
solutions,
so is
but
that
you
not
never
what Jay Z
stated
is
what you
doing?
want
Is that
solutions
not
for.
is that not what Jay Z is doing though, Amanda?
I just explained how that's not what Jay-Z is doing. You can do one thing and still be doing a whole host of other things that actually cause this thing to continue to need to exist. If we and for what it's worth, let me just also point out to you, they're trying to end cash bail on a federal they basically ended cash bail. They just ended cash bail. I know, so they just reinstated bail being necessitated in DC. Like Chicago ended cash bail. However,
Yeah.
there is much pushback to that because it undermines the goal of the private prison system. It undermines the goal of the private prison system to get as many individuals involved as possible. And for what it's worth, immigrants who are being snatched up by ICE, they do not get bail at all. They don't even get to be seen before a judge.
So
So
what's the
there's that.
solution
So
though,
when we're
Amanda? What's the solution to
let
that?
me just point out something to you though, because I need this to be heard by everybody. There has to be some type of understanding that
Hmm.
acknowledging issues that are being pushed below the surface, acknowledging issues and clarifying them when they are actively being shrouded in smoke and mirrors is an act that necessitates effort and solutions. The same person who is able to identify, who is able to use their labor to bring these things to the surface,
Hmm.
does not have to be the same person to solve them. Those are actually two different skill sets, for the record. Being able to discern and to read between the lines of something and to understand with media literacy how things are being misrepresented is not the same as being able to say, this is how you solve this problem. Just so we're clear. So what
I
happens when
can't.
people like you come with this is that you suggest
Hmm.
that if you don't have the solution, that you
I'm
shouldn't
not sugge-
point out the
I'm
problem. That is what you
no, no,
imply.
no, 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 no.
That is
What I'm
what you
trying to,
imply. Absolutely. And
what I
everybody in
always
the
want you to
comments
do,
agrees.
what I don't care about
Everybody
the
in the comment
comments. I don't
agrees.
care about the comments because at the end of the
I
day,
care
me and
about
you,
the comments.
okay, that's this
Comments
your
are the
platform.
people.
Me and you are having a conversation. What I'm
No,
saying
we're
to you,
not.
man,
We're having a
no,
conversation in
me,
a context of an audience.
I don't care
We're
about
not
the
sitting at a
audience.
dinner
I'm
table
not
with
doing this.
Ivanka Trump.
I'm not doing this for entertainment.
This is not about entertainment.
What
This is
I'm asking
education.
you, okay, what I'm asking you, Amanda, the points that you the points that you have are all valid. Your criticism is always valid.
I know.
What I'm saying to you is I'll be wanting you as a creative, as an intellectual black woman to speak to the utopia, whatever it is that we are trying to move towards.
Then you're
Because at
not
the end of
paying
the
attention
it's
because
not
I
that I'm
do
not
that
paying
every
attention.
day.
I'm talking to
I
you
do
right
that
now.
every
I'm
single
talking to
day, and
you.
my voice is
I'm
loud.
talking to you
Let
right
me tell
now,
you why my
Amanda.
voice is loud right now. Because
See?
it is people like you that
See, you
consistently
steady
come
talking
in
about
my
me. You
space
steady
to
talking about me. Let's
undermine.
talk about the solution. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's people like him who consistently come in my space to undermine the consistent efforts of solution that I provide on a regular basis. And I'm not going to keep space with those people. Everybody here who follows my content knows I am regularly presenting solutions. Regularly. This nigga is a DJ. Exactly. No, I don't want to sit here and talk to you because you're an asinine, very arrogant individual. So no, you do not get to be in space with me. And again, if you acknowledge my brilliance and you acknowledge my intellect, then show up listening. Don't show up giving me orders. You show up listening to what I'm going to share. When I come into certain spaces with individuals who I know they shit, I'm not coming in like, convince me. Because who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I? No, the arrogance of that individual has no space here. No space here. And what I do on Views from Amandaland on a regular basis is I platform solution makers. I platform solution finders. And it is so dope to have created spaces where we can do that. And I love that y'all join. I love that y'all join Views from Amandaland. Excuse me, every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube Amandaseales TV to see and listen to these individuals. Okay? Because that man came up here giving me a profile, which by the way, already tells you that he's feeling himself because he doesn't even want to give me the direct energy of his attention, and came on here to defend the same people that don't give a fuck. Solutions for a lot of people are miracles. That's what people expect, miracles. Okay? They want miracles. And the thing about it is that is not a thing that you are in control of. Solutions require work and they require knowledge. If we're talking about solutions around prison reform, have to start with the reality that if you keep trying to reform the prison, you're not really trying to get a solution. You're working with the problem. There should be alternatives to prison that eventually become the replacement in how we deal with punishment in our society. We have other examples of this. It's not like we have to pull this out of the sky. There are other places on the planet that have examples of this. Do you think there were always prisons? Because there weren't. And particularly not in this iteration. No. And now that man is going to go run and tell somebody, you know, I tried to talk to Amandaseales and she wouldn't listen. And he's right. Because we cannot listen to arrogant nonsense and call it sharing space. We cannot. We cannot. Folks don't realize that there were entire civilizations, whether it's the Aztecs, the Incas, the Mayans, Benin, the Malians, Mesopotamia, the Egyptians, the Navajo. Like, there were entire indigenous existences. And we are in a part of the human timeline, okay? We're in a part of the human timeline of capitalism. There was life before capitalism, all right? There was life before monarchy. There are systems of governance that exist today. Look up the Zapatistas. So when we are talking about the different existence of humans, the hubris is that the version that we're in is the only one. And it's not. It's not. And for the record, when you're looking even at this administration, it is abundantly clear that they looked at all these different presidencies and took the parts that were effective for them and put it all together. Because there's a little bit of Nixon in there, there's a little bit of FDR in there, there's a whole lot of Andrew Jackson in there. The past gives us blueprints for how we are supposed to expand as humans. If you're limited to the only concept of you and your mortality, then we're not having the same conversation. And if you want to join, if you want to enter a conversation with me from an arrogant space, I'm going to exit. So that's what it's going to be. I'm going to exit the conversation. I am not interested in trying to convince anybody. I've lived way too long. I don't even know how old that young man is, but I tell you what, he ain't where I'm at. He ain't read the books I've read. He ain't been in the spaces I've been in, and he doesn't think in the time that I think. I spend all day thinking. I spend all day thinking. So, again, as I was saying before, um, it is imperative that we understand that when we're talking about reform, we're still talking about preserving. That's the issue with the concept of reform. It's still preserving that which is in place. And so if you are trying to reserve, if you're still trying to preserve that which needs to actually be dismantled, it's incongruous. It's an antithetical effort. What are my thoughts on private equity in the prison system? It is slavery. Private equity in the prison system is a long phrase for slave ownership. That's what private equity is in the prison system. Why don't we speak on dismantling the prison system, the prison industrial complex? We speak about it all the time. I had somebody say, Amanda shouldn't be talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce. She should be talking about Trey Reed. I did an entire post last night about Trey Reed. It was literally the post right before that post. When are we going to be actually responsible about how we take in information? When is that going to happen? When are you all who are here, who go on these apps, going to be responsible about the information you take in? When are you going to stop diverting it to the people who are giving you the information and actually be responsible for how you take in the information? When is that going to happen? Because I got to tell you, it's like frustrating. It's frustrating when I make an entire video and then 1 minute into the video, it's clear that the person is not watching the video because now they've said, and also blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but I said that in the video. I said it in the video. So what are you and alsoing? Like at some point you have to understand that you are responsible. You, you're responsible for how you are taking in information. And so many of y'all are not acknowledging that. He's been in here like, I'm not doing this for entertainment. Shut up. Shut up. This is edutainment. I don't know what pompous, I don't know who blew that man up. But understand, it is entertainment. Because that's how information has been contextualized in this goddamn country. Why do you think there's a 24-hour news cycle? Because people are watching the news instead of watching cartoons. It's entertainment. That is the United States. So the choice then becomes, how do you, knowing the framework we're in, operate responsibly? I'm going to edutain. I'm going to use the same spaces that people are using to entertain to educate, which is, by the way, a continuance of the Black Arts Movement that started post Civil Rights Movement in order to ground Black folks in identity. Okay? In pride that we were being stripped of and that we subsequently were stripped of. So again, this concept of, and by the way, like, you're not coming on my platform to tell me how we're gonna do things, and I just need that to also be known. And the preposterousness of that, the egoism of that, the conceit of that is truly mind blowing. Like, to actually think that you should come on someone's platform and tell them this is what you need to do. This is what you need to talk about. Nah, no, sir. Niggas got me fucked up. Ooh, niggas got me fucked up. Not today. Not the one. And you can tell he's short. Before I go, does anyone have any questions? What can you do from Canada? I don't know. That I do not know. I have no idea what you can do from Canada, to be honest. Thank you, Val. How can we be responsible? What's the starting point? So, in being responsible, you have to really undo. One second. This is going to be, I'm doing one more shirt and I'm not going to sell any more shirts. I have never been able to find a shirt distributor that is responsible. I have never been able to. I have never been able to find a shirt distributor that's responsible ever. And it's really unfortunate. Truly. Because it's unfortunate because it really it would be so easy to work with people if they would just do what they say they're going to do, and they just don't. They just don't. And it's really it would be so much easier to work with people if they just did what they say they were going to do. You know what I mean? Um And for shout out to everybody who's running their own business and who is a single individual trying to handle their shit, because people really don't have respect for that too often. So often people just have no regard, they have no respect for what it requires of you. You know what I'm saying? Like they just have no respect and no regard for what that requires of you. I'm so mad I want to cry. I'm so mad that I want to cry. Like, I can't explain to you all how frustrated I am right now because you explain to people in earnestness, in honesty, why you need things to happen in a certain way, and they just simply do not you do not care and simply like why you need things to happen a certain way, and they do not have any regard for you. They don't have any regard for you. It's mind blowing. And you try to work with them. You try and you can't because they don't respect you, because they don't even respect themselves. So I wanted to like create, I wanted to continue to create shirts for you guys and sell shirts for you. I can't because it never works. My shirt distributor, just know that all my small businesses, like I really get it. I really like, we are in it. We are in it. Y'all should know it's just me that fulfills the orders on my page. It's just me. There's nobody else fulfilling these orders. It's just me. And um so like when you have to get, when you're then getting those, or you know, you have to get the shirts made, I have to be able to fulfill those orders on schedule. So I'm already behind schedule because they sent me shirts that were not the quality that we had agreed upon. So I'm already a week behind what I told people they were going to have, right? So I'm already pissed at that, at not being able to show up the way I show up. So that's one. Two, then they're telling me, okay, we're going to get you the shirts by this weekend. Today is now, well, actually, let me take it back. So they're like, we're going to get you the sample of the new shirt on Wednesday. Got it. Wednesday comes and goes. Where's the sample of the new shirt? Oh, the sample of the new shirt is basically we missed the FedEx deadline, so we couldn't get it to you overnight. You in New York and I'm in New York. What do you mean you couldn't get it to me overnight? You couldn't send it in a fucking Uber? Like, what are we talking about? Then they finally send it at the end of the day. So production could have started that day and it didn't. Do you know when production started on the shirts that they told me I was going to have this weekend? Yesterday. Yesterday. He says, we're going to send you all the shirts that we did today by noon tomorrow so that you can start fulfillment, because I can't fulfill on Wednesday because Wednesday is used for Amandaland and I'm literally indisposed all fucking day. I have a summit this weekend that I have to prepare for. So now this motherfucker just sends me a text. I said, where is the shirts? It's noon. Oh, I'm actually going to send them tomorrow. These people are in Brooklyn. They're in Brooklyn. Why am I paying them? And I just, in general, y'all, this idea of like changing people's plans without talking to them is really disrespectful. And I don't think enough of us acknowledge that because we kind of live in this very self-centered main character energy world. But it really is not okay. Like sometimes shit happens, right? But sometimes you make a choice and you literally change people's plan regardless of if they can change that plan. And I don't think that that's acceptable. And I've absolutely had to cut friends who think that that's acceptable, who really think that that's like, well, if you're my friend, you would be okay with me changing our plans without consulting you. P's go so hard. They were supposed to Uber the stuff to me. We had an entire conversation at 9 o'clock last night where he was supposed to Uber the shirts to me today. And I made it abundantly clear why it was necessary that I get some of the shirts today, because I need to start fulfilling the orders, because I will lose an entire day tomorrow. And I'm not going to be able to do all of these orders on Thursday and Friday because I have to prepare for the Amanda Land Summit. I made this very clear. He was like, I got you. I got you. I got you. So for anyone who's ordered shirts, I deeply apologize because I hate this. This is not how I want to show up as a business person. Forget business person. This is just not how I want to show up as a person. I pride myself on being reliable unless there is some extenuating circumstance. And it's really disheartening when you do all the things that you're supposed to do, and then folks put you in the bad situation. That's life, but it's still disheartening, right? It's still frustrating. It's still frustrating. And if I'm being fully vulnerable, I am making a new life, right? Like, I left my other life because it was not something I could exist in my values. I left that life for that reason. I could not exist in that space in my values. And that meant I had to make a new life, which, for the record, is something that many of you have had to do. So you understand. You feel me when it's like, no, I had to like carve that shit out. And, it's frustrating. It's not an easy process. It's like chipping away at marble versus clay. And, I'm just venting at this point because it's happening in real time. And, you just want to figure out how to show up. Like, oh, trust me, Steve Scott, I'm on number 5 life too. You're trying to show up for yourselves. You're trying to show up for your community. You're trying to show up for your ancestors. You're trying to show up for your family. All those things, and it's really it's like the work of having to move the obstacles is really exhaustive work. It's really exhaustive work. So I see y'all. I'm in solidarity with y'all, because the bigger picture of that is that beyond our intimate experience with that, we are trying to do that on a global scale, right? On a global scale, we are trying to move out obstacles that have calcified in our systems, that have calcified so deeply in our systems that you have people that think that there cannot be a life without them. And so you're trying to figure out, how do I break that down? What methodology can I use to break this down? And so that's what we're trying to do on a daily basis, trying to figure out, like, how do we break that down? What is the chemical compound to break down this calcification of nonsense that's in the fucking way? What is it? I think a lot of us are in the metaphysical lab. Like, okay, a little bit of love, a little bit of violence, a little bit of intellect. So, anywho, this weekend, the Amanda Land Summit is going down at the People's Forum. If you are not a part of the summit, you can still join 2 of the events. On Saturday, we have the Cracking Up the System panel with 2 comics talking to 2 organizers. We have Christina Brown and Davidson Broswell on the comic side. We have Claudia de la Cruz and Angelica Langdon on the organizer side. And we're going to be talking about organizing and what we need to do to what we need to organize against, how we can organize, etc. So that will be available on live stream for $5, and it will be available in person for $10. Anyone under 18, you can get in free. And then in the evening, we have a live taping of my show, Views from Amandaland. That's going down at 7:30. The doors open at 7, and my guests are I Am Blakely and Eugene Puryear, and we will be having the same blast that we have on, Views from Amandaland. We're having a special live taping that's going down again on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So you can join for $5 on the live stream, and you can join for 10 in person. So yeah, and under 18 gets in free. So ASG Artifacts, I already told them. I already said, the 2 orders that I've placed will be my last orders. That's it. The messed up part about it is that I don't have anybody else that does shirts. I don't have a reliable resource for shirts. And because of that, I can't sell y'all shirts that you want. So it is what it is. But you know what? I have said over and over again that I don't want to sell shirts. And every single time I try, God says, no, stop trying to sell shirts. Every single time. No. Why you keep trying to sell shirts? We done already talked about this. Okay? But I'm not in LA, so I don't know. Well, that's not helpful. Like, no, I live in New York City. I'm not shipping shirts from fucking Texas. Like, I live in New York City. Omega Official, if you do, DM me. I live in New York City. Bestie said, listen to that voice. Every time I try to sell shirts. Every time. Every time. It always ends up on some BS. I really wanted to get y'all a Views from Amandaland shirt. I can't. I can't. How was that helpful to me? How was a shirt place in Berkeley helpful to me? How? Why are y'all telling me about places in other states? Like, you did know I was away in New York. You said if you were in LA, so you knew I was not in New York. I want y'all to know that on the live, I can see your comments. And sometimes y'all be commenting on live like it's your own stream of consciousness that I can't see. But I can. I can see your comments on live. So sometimes y'all are in the live and you're just typing what you think. But I can see it. Someone said you might have to make your own shirt. No, I will not be making my own shirt because I'm not a shirt maker. You see? I'm not a shirt maker. You got to know what you are. I'm not a shirt maker. You got to know what you about. I'm not a shirt maker, y'all. I'm not a shirt maker. So yeah. I did have a drop shipper. That's the problem. You all have a great afternoon. I'm so irritated.